What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to another breakdown and review from your fellow nerds. Today, we are going to be taking a look at Invincible. And let me tell you, what looked like your average run-of-the-mill superhero animated series turned out to be I gotta say, for an animated series that starred J.K. Simmons, when I first heard that that was announced, I was like, oh my god, how can this get any better? And it turned out it really does. But like I said in the beginning, when I was first watching this, the very first episode, as it came out on Amazon Prime, my initial thought was, okay, this is fine. It's pretty decent animation. It kind of looks like something out of the DC animated universe back when they were making all of those movies. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of on par with that. But I wonder if it's really going to go anywhere. It just kind of looks like a knockoff Justice League. Oh my god!
Well, Doug, it was created by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame, so you know it was going to be gory and you know it was going to be epic as far as the violence went. But I agree. The excellent voice acting, excellent animation. To me, this reminded me of like a Japanese anime with, you know, not just the drawing or the animation, I'm sorry, but with the way the characters, you know, you think you can get into one character and then the next thing you know, something happens to them. And I compare it to Japanese anime in that way.
And what really helped this show is it felt so familiar, yet so different. You know, you got the teams like the Justice League, even though they turned out to be a lot different. You had Omni-Man, who was a Superman without the proper Midwest upbringing. Kind of see that in Mark Grayson, that you're going to kind of see that he had the right mother to kind of bring him up right and do the right thing, kind of like we're seeing in The Boys with Homelander's kid. So there was a lot of things that were really done well. And I mean, that last 5 minutes of that first episode, I was enjoying the episode. And when that last 5 minutes hit, I was totally immersed. I wanted more. I'm glad they released 3 episodes at once because it really got you in. But they kept building on every little thing they did. You had the Global Defense Agency.
Cecil Stedman, director of the GDA.
As the Global Defense Agency, we have access to medical technology far beyond any normal hospital.
My dad never mentioned you guys.
That's the idea. We work with superheroes like your father to keep the world safe.
Which was very S.H.I.E.L.D.-like, very Argus-like.
Nick Fury, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. The Super Spies.
You know, then you even get the Coalition of Planets, which kind of, you know, it keeps building and building on it. So we know we're going to get more and more things in the second and third season, which has already been renewed for. So I can't wait to see where this goes even further because there's so much they can build on in so many good things. If they can keep this voice cast throughout its run, this is going to be one of the best cartoons ever on television, I think.
If you guys go back and you watch a lot of our breakdowns and our reviews of The Boys, which Keith mentioned, then you'll find that we had mentioned at one point that a lot of people were saying that The Boys was trying to out-preacher the show Preacher with all of its blood and guts and vulgarity and things like that. And so that was kind of the bar, I think, at that point. And I believe exactly what Dave was alluding to when he said that it was very anime-esque in the way that they were killing people off, almost Game of Thrones style. I have a feeling that this is Amazon Prime's way of now out-boysing the boys, if you will, with all of the blood and guts and death. And every time the title screen would appear that showed you would see more blood adding on top of it, just showing that every episode was going to have more violence and more blood and more gore, and who knew who else was going to die.
And just so you know, Mother's Milk from The Boys has already came out and stated that season 3 of The Boys is going to be bloodier than ever. So they're trying to out Invincible.
That is perfect, and now I'm looking forward to it even more. Now, you fellow nerds here, we don't want to give away too much of the plot because it really is a great show and you really have to see it for yourself if you haven't seen it already. So we're not going to give away too many spoilers. The one thing that I will say is that a lot of this series obviously is taken from its own comic, which goes in a little bit different direction than this animated series does. And its comic takes a lot from its predecessors, which came before it. So you're going to see a lot of very similar storylines. So just like Keith mentioned that there's kind of their own take on the Justice League, there's their own take on the Avengers. Almost in a way, there's their own take on like an evil version of Krypton or something like that, or other things like that happening within this series. So there is a lot that you're going to see from comic book lore, and if you like those type of shows and you like that type of action and adventure, there's all of that plus a lot of really good comedy and, like what Dave mentioned, excellent voice acting. So yeah, I don't want to ruin any more of this, or I don't want to spoil any more of this, so please definitely check it out for yourself.
Definitely, Doug. There's a definite level of voice acting. It's just amazing in here, and like I said, the animation is great. But overall, I'm not with, I guess I'll be the combo breaker with you guys. I didn't think this series was like 9 out of 10 worthy. I thought it was okay to watch. It really didn't grab me like other series have. That may be my fault. I may have a little superhero fatigue right now, but I don't know. Just it didn't grab me like I thought it would. So overall, I think I'll give that a rating of maybe 7 out of 10.
While I respect Dave's opinion, I completely disagree. I loved this. I was fully immersed from the get-go with the voice acting, the animation, the story. I think the writers really captured a teen thought process by naming himself Invincible once he found out he had powers, and then pretty much getting his butt whooped on a regular basis. And not just getting his butt whooped.
Invincible.
Oh, yeah? Little optimistic, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
I just fought you and I think you're quite vincible.
I mean, utterly destroyed. It's a learning process being a superhero, and I think this show showed that extremely well. I also love the fact that the ending of this season really left us on a few things. You know, we got the coalition of planets saying, I've never seen them give up before, so we know they're coming back. Plus, when Omni-Man was telling about his home planet, we saw a couple people that looked pretty strong. Are we going to see them in future episodes? You know, I think they did a great job of introducing new characters, making us feel, you know, welcome in this new universe. They really, you know, did a lot of world building in this universe with the Teen Team and the Guardians of the Globe. You know, all of it was so well done and seamless to me that I'm going to give this season 1 of Invincible a 9.5 out of 10. And I cannot wait for season 2.
I also really liked this series. I really dug the animation, so I was definitely on board where Dave was, and I thought the cast that they chose for the voice actors was really good. I wasn't always a fan of some of the background images that they had. Some of that looked a little, you know, so it could have been a little bit better in some of those areas, because if you look at it for too long, you can tell some of it was reminiscent, to me at least, of the 90s Spider-Man series. It kind of had that sort of unusual fake 3D look to it, but when you're watching all the action that was taking place on screen, I was able to let some of it go. But the character arcs that we saw, the unusual twists that took place, and even once you get past Rexplode's annoying behavior, I really enjoyed this series, and it definitely took me for a ride. I enjoyed the twist at the end of the first episode, and if you have not seen it yet, I won't tell you what it was, but oh my god, please watch this series. So I'm going to give this a rating of a 9 out of 10. This was an excellent show, and you definitely need to check it out.
That's our review of Invincible, but what did you all think? Leave it in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time at Not Your Status Quo.